The elevator is recommended for individuals 13 and up for instances of profanity and discussion of murder. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ashura is in an ancient language. It means whole heaven. Ashura slayed Tiamat, the embodiment of chaos, and created the world of man. He's usually shown as being a warrior and representing the sun. The god Avery McMillan believed in isn't some satanic war god or anything like that, but a god that apparently created the world. Not many people believe in any god anymore. Well, science hasn't exactly disproved the existence of one just yet. People nowadays are more concerned with the here and now than they are hereafter. Even while on the stand of his own murder, McMillan preached about his god. For whatever reason, he truly believed that what he was doing was right. He tortured people when they wouldn't accept his truth. He killed them once they did, because then they'd be reunited with Ashura. I wonder if his victims die peacefully, accepting a god that only exists in the mind of a delusional murderer. The thought makes me want to throw up. Why do I always think about the South Shore killer case? I caught the guy. My voice keeps slipping. Tests and examinations show that he was definitely not in his right mind. Good triumphed over not evil exactly, but the killing of innocents at least. McMillan did say that his victims were innocent. In fact, that's why they were chosen, to populate the kingdom of heaven with good souls. How he chose his victims even now is a mystery to me, though he talked endlessly about Ashura and about his family. McMillan never revealed specifics about his methods or about his victims. People begged him to reveal if he'd killed others, where he'd hidden bodies that were never found, but he never did. My family, Detective Carmichael, you have to make sure they're safe. I was in a cruel mood that day, so I simply said that I could make no guarantees. McMillan stared blankly at me for a few moments before grinning. Well, it's all right if you don't, though. You will have to have points subtracted. It would have been nice for them to live a little bit longer, but Ashura will decide when it's time for them to come to me. That was it. As much as I wanted to know how guilty he was, as much as the families of the dead wanted him to suffer, he never did. He accepted his death, and almost happily. When he was gone, there was no closure. Not for the victims' families. Definitely not for me. God. I think that's the problem. Catching him and watching him die did nothing to make me feel like my ideals were true. Even though he died, I don't feel like he paid for his crimes. And even then, I'm not at peace with the world or with myself. But he was. Does that mean I was wrong? But how could I be wrong? And yet, if it were right, why aren't I happy? Why don't I feel proud about what I did? McMillan was insane, no doubt, but those nagging worries I have, little thorns in my chest, are a sort of madness too. Elena's being quiet today. I wonder if I'm projecting my bad mood on her. She never bothers me when I stand here with a scowl on my face. Bing! Not that I have to talk to her. Sometimes a whole week goes by where neither of us say anything except good morning and goodbye. She's a young woman in the peak period of her life, and I'm a dried up old man. Okay, John would get on my case for that. Whoop. You're barely in your 40s. If you're an old man, it means I'm one too, and I'm sure as hell not getting into that boat with you. Still, there's a limit to how much she can humor me with conversation, or how much I can bore her with it. A few quiet weeks pass by. A young man gets apprehended for the Jensen murder and confessed to the crime. Says it was an impulse. What a goddamn awful impulse to have. My bad mood passes and things get back to normal. You've got some color on your face today. You think so? Yeah, good for you, Dave. Yeah. My voice just keeps flopping around. I don't feel particularly happy on anything, but I guess anything above depressed is a pretty good state to be in. Olivia must have said something nice to you today. I don't bother replying. If I so much as sneeze, John will think Elena's involved somehow. John's clocked out around 7 or so, and I leave a couple hours later once my work is done. I know I shouldn't think about like this, but peaceful times worry me. You know Murphy's Law all the time. Murphy's Law? All the time I feel like if I let my guard down, all hell will break loose and I don't at least expect it. Come on, David, don't think about this stuff. Close your eyes and try to think of something more positive. A warm breeze, white sanded beaches. Shit, I shouldn't think about the beach. Oh, someone's leaving the same time as me? Maybe it's someone from the pharmaceutical company. They're the only ones who ever seem to keep late hours like I do. I've run into the scientists a couple of times.
Oh, Detective Carmichael.
Elena, what are you? Stalker! Stalker! I cut myself off, feeling foolish. Obviously, she's leaving work about just the same as I am. I've never seen you this late before.
Well, I normally leave earlier, but I made a mistake at work today, and it took some time to fix everything.
What kind of mistake? How'd you hear this late?
I miscopied some papers. Well, to be fair, I was just following orders. I ended up taking the fall for a superior's mistake.
Sounds pretty rough.
It's nothing compared to what you do, I'm sure. Do you usually leave this late?
Something like that. I don't like leaving things I've done.
I can believe that. You seem like the meticulous type.
You think so?
Sure.
Once we reach the lobby, we can see the heavy rain outside. Damn, I didn't bring an umbrella.
He must be crying today.
What?
I'm sorry?
You just said that someone must be crying today, What do you mean by that?
Oh, it's nothing really. Just something
She trails off. I've never seen Elena of this melancholy before.
Let's wait.
There's no point in forcing an answer out of her if she doesn't want me to tell me. With the rain this heavy, I'm not exactly keen on rushing out into it, so I can afford to wait. After some silent moments pass by, Elena finally decides to continue.
Promise you won't laugh.
Not a hard promise for me to make. He's probably never laughed a day in his life.
When I was little, my father died.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But before he did, he told me something. He said he'd always be with me, even if I couldn't see him. He said that if it's sunny, it means he's smiling down at me.
And if it's raining, it means he's crying?
Something like that. I never could stand it when my father cried, even then. I wonder what he said about today.
A man who had no shame in crying in front of his young daughter? That's pretty impressive in his own way. Sounds like you had a very sentimental father.
Yes, he was just that kind of person. He stuffed me and my siblings' heads full of stories. Even now I remember a lot of things he told me and hold my memories close. I suppose it's childish of me to believe in such things, but to forget would be disrespectful. To forgive would be even worse.
Your father really cared about you. It's obvious that he raised you well, seeing that you're what a good person you are now.
Thanks, Detective. That's grand of you. Well, it looks like the rain's letting up, so I won't keep you any longer.
See you tomorrow? I've never said such a thing to her before, but it just feels right somehow to say it tonight. Does it make me sound too eager? Is it foolish for me to feel like this young woman and I are building rapport?
Yes, I'm sure we will. We're making a habit of running into each other, aren't we?
I'd say we made it at that. We already made that habit months ago.
I guess you're right, Detective. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
I guess you're right, Detective. Weird. I'm feeling a sense of deja vu. Was it from that? Well, Elena and I talked a lot over the last few months, no doubt she said that to me before.
You know, Detective Carmichael, I think you've got to be the most interesting fellow I've ever met in my life. I wish my children could get to know you and learn from you.
Macmillan's talking to me again through the double-sided mirror. I don't know how he does it, but he always knows when I'm there. With the side switch on the intercom. You want your kids to learn from the man who brought you down? I thought you're supposed to be a genius.
Think about it. You could learn more. They could learn more about me from studying you. You know me better than anyone, don't you? That's how you caught me. You had to get inside my head. Is that the jargon?
He sounded amused, even though that what he's saying should be disturbing.
And how did you like it?
How did I like what?
The view from inside of my head.
His tone suggests that he's offended that I didn't get his meaning immediately. It was a dark place. I'd like very much if I never had to go back there.
I suspect you never will. Not after this. You're what, 26 this year? Don't give up. Don't give me that look, David. If you know this much about me, don't you think I'd read up a bit on you?
I didn't think you had the time for stuff like that.
Why not? I had plenty of time in my hands. Still do, in fact. I contemplate Ashura and the kingdom of heaven constantly.
It would be better if you spent the time thinking about all the innocents you killed.
Nonsense. Thinking about the dead isn't very productive at all. I only humor you a bit during your interrogations because they won't let me talk to you otherwise.
He laughs heartily, as if he's just made a brilliant joke.
If it wasn't for you, I'd have to talk to those stuffy prosecutors all day. Very dull business, that.
And what about my age?
Oh, so you are curious.
When I don't respond right away, he looks just a little bit disappointed, but precious nonetheless.
I was just thinking about that 26 is a nice age to be. I suspect that you have many years left ahead of you.
For what?
Oh, before you go to hell. It's a shame. Really would have been great fun having you in heaven. But I'm afraid you locking me in here isn't getting you any more points with God.
When you get there, Macmillan, tell your God that I think he's pretty fucked up.
-3 points for vulgarity, but plus 1 point for starting to acknowledge his existence. Maybe you'll make up for your negative points before you die. That would be delightful.
A buzzer sounds from behind me. His family's here to visit him. They're allowed to do so exactly once a month for about a half an hour. I can't help but hope that what he tells them is more pleasant than what he's always telling me. I wake from a dream, from a memory, covered in cold sweat. I grope around in the darkness looking for something, anything, but grasp nothing but air. I've had enough of this. I don't give a shit if Azura is a real god. I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want to remember anymore. I have work in a few hours. Better get back to sleep.
You seem troubled today, Detective. The rain didn't make you catch a cold, did it?
No, nothing like that. I had some trouble sleeping.
I see. That's a shame. You should leave work early today, then, if you're still feeling tired. I hope work isn't too busy today.
Yeah, you know what? I think I will do that. We don't have any big cases to work on anyway, so it won't hurt anything. Sorry to worry you all the time. You shouldn't worry so much about an old man like me, Elena.
Aw, I don't think of you as an old man, Detective. Ooh.
Last stop to think about or respond to, I noticed that we've gone well past the 54th floor already. It'll be my stop soon enough. Wait, we passed your floor.
What? Oh no, I know I pushed the button to my floor. I must not have used enough force.
Sorry you had to wait a while longer.
It's alright, I don't mind spending a bit more time with you, Detective.
I'm serious, you ought to spend more time with fellas around your own age. I remember the look on her face when Elena told me she had nobody to talk to. She doesn't deserve that. Elena deserves someone who will make her feel better when it rains and her father's crying. She doesn't need someone like me who can't even move from his past. I step out of the elevator, not intended to say anything else. Maybe I was a little harsh.
-100 points, Detective Carmichael.
What? I whirl around just as the elevator door starts to close. What? What was that all about? Did she say points? Dave? Oh, Joan. Was that the elevator girl? Yeah, that's Elena, alright.
Elena? Why does that name sound familiar?
I've never told her name before?
Nope, it just never came up, I suppose. Elena.
You keep tabs on other companies in this building, don't you? Her name probably came up once or twice.
Huh. What company does she work for?
Pluma. It's a travel agency, if I remember right. She's a secretary.
You always remember right. Pluma. Huh. I don't remember a travel agency being in this building, but I could be wrong about that. It's been a while since I've checked. Which floor is she on?
The 54th floor. She missed her floor by accident today. She normally gets off before I do. John's eyebrows furrow in confusion. 54th? There's no way. What? Why not? Nobody can work in the 50s in this building. The floors have been sealed off for ages because of some incident from before, a fire or something. They've never got around to fixing it all. What? How could that possibly? Well, you've seen her get off on the 54th floor every day, right? Oh, right. Didn't even think of that. Leave it to an old man to jump to conclusions. Yeah, it looked like it. A normal build office hallway to me. I think I would have noticed the floor were condemned. They might have fixed it up recently then. Like I said, it's been a while since I've checked. Dave? Huh? Oh yeah, I'm sure you're right. Still, I can't get all this off my mind for the rest of the day. Something's nagging at me. Something big. Minus 100 points, Detective Carmichael. I've only known one other person to say something like that to me. Come to think of it, her eyes are the same color as his. In a horrified daze, I start going through my files, pulling out all of my information on the South Shore killer. I haven't looked at these files in years. With my vivid memory, I think there is no need to. I had John organize the files for me and then put them away. I even had to dust them off a bit before I sat down. Avery McMillan, the South Shore killer, murdered about 50 people that we know of because he wanted them to go to heaven. He was a fanatic with a religion nobody else believed in, and I caught him. I worked with hired guns and even dirty government money to set up a perimeter and finally track him down. And yet, he knew I was on his trail. Everybody always wondered why he insisted on killing people on the beach when he knew we were on his pattern. But even after he knew, he eluded us. He would take advantage of a camera's blind spots or use other people as shields. It's as if he was taunting us, declaring silently that even with our knowledge we couldn't catch him. In the end, though, we still did. I led the team that put him behind bars and delivered the death penalty to him. I watched expressionless as they injected him with poison that would kill him almost immediately. In those last moments, I'm sure he was thinking about his God. Avery McMillan, known as a loving father and good husband. His neighbors liked him and nobody seemed to think badly about him. He had 3 children who adored him, 2 twin boys and a girl. My heart almost stopped when I see the daughter's name, and yet part of me isn't surprised at all. The puzzle pieces fit perfectly, but all too late. Elena. Her daughter's name is Elena McMillan. Frantically, I go through the files more. I knew that. I watched countless times as his family visited me. How could I forget something like that? How could I forget something as important as that? Memories begin to float to the surface. Memories I had forgotten that I'd been forced to forget. I watched a sick feeling in my gut as Avery McMillan tells his daughter that he will always be with her. After the trial, his family is put under protection to prevent them from being massacred. Literally or figuratively. God damn it. By the world. I watched the McMillan family file quietly back into the back of a van. They are driven away on a rainy day, the day Avery McMillan was executed. My memory of them is wiped after that. I know that they exist. I remember his family, and yet I don't. I don't remember 6-year-old Elena's deep green, unfeeling eyes. I don't remember her father telling her never to forget or forgive or forget. Never to forgive or forget me. Just as he wished, she got to know me. Maybe even learned from me. Okay. The electricity in the office goes out. And yet, despite the odds, I'm in pieces and McMillan's God tries to take me. Woo! Woo! We got the true ending. By accident. That's weird. Wonder what the normal ending's like. Might have to try that out on my own time. Yeah, this game is awesome. That was awesome. That was a great story. I know a lot of people look at these games and they're going like, oh, they're so casual. They're just no good. I'm a story person rather than a gameplay person. When it comes to video games, I mean, a good gameplay obviously is essential, but a good story is the utmost importance. So yeah. That was great. I love it. I've played, I think I've played at least one other of Cyanide Tea's visual novel games. They're pretty good. At least the one I played was really good.
I'm probably gonna do a few more of these tonight. Probably just record them tonight, just for the hell of it. Because I got nothing better to do until bedtime. Anyways, okay, how did my ending go? I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Would appreciate it. I'm gonna have to get used to this again. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.